Ma Pimpo Haiti, the Haitian Diaspora Living in Haiti podcast. We're doing an episode that we needed to do for a while. An episode just me and Mark just shooting the crap, just talking. My co-host, the pastor.
Yes, sir, Marc Antoine.
Yes. And though we had something else planned, but you know what? You make a lemonade into lemon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or is the other way around? You just make the best of it. And we been putting off an episode of just you and I for so long, and minus the first episode. So you know what? I'm like, let's just do it. Let's just have an episode where we can talk about different topics like we intended. We have a lot of topics to go over, and this one is one that's going to be particularly interesting for a lot of people. It relates to lifestyle changes, just the lifestyle differences as it relates to living in Haiti versus America. And I think it's something that might be interest to a lot of people, man. What do you think?
No, I think that this is a really, really important topic, especially for people who want more insight on what the practical side of things are, and what the day-to-day routines are. I think, the lifestyle of living in Haiti, it varies. But I think, I think it's really important to kind of shed some light on the differences and what people should expect. Maybe, what people have heard and maybe it's untrue. A lot, especially if they're hearing it from WhatsApp, it can't be true if it's coming on WhatsApp. But yeah, I think this is something that people really want to, get some more information on, and it's really good to share that. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, I agree. It's because to be honest, the Haitian lifestyle is certainly much more. Anyone who's had a chance to live in Haiti for extended clip, it's much more appealing than America for so many reasons that we're going to get into. Because contrary to popular belief, where of images where they show just misery and etc., actually for those of even modest means, it's understandable why so many people will choose to stay or eventually come back, because as anyone who has Haitian parents will attest, the American lifestyle is a difficult one, no matter how much income you have, because of so much that's on your shoulders, right? So we're going to talk about it, and some of the things we're going to just kind of highlight for folks, just to know what we're going to get into. We're going to talk about, for example, food, market versus grocery store, right? We're going to talk about home help, getting that, how does that work? Right. We're going to talk about, getting a driver. Right. Should you, what's some of the benefits of that? We'll talk about other things, little things like, when you go get your gas. Right. There's some interesting parts on that. And just other little stuff like water, propane. Right. There's most water isn't piped into your home. So there's particular ways you got to go about that. Propane. Yeah. Right. I mean, even sewage, we got to talk about that, even waste eventually. So someone has to take care of that. Right. And whatever else we may come up as we're chatting, I certainly have my notebook and I'll be jotting things down to talk about. So we're looking to certainly have a very full conversation.
Yes, sir. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes. So, I think probably just to get this conversation started, I remember, I don't know, the first, sort of shock to me as I was, moving to Haiti. Certainly, the most intimidating factor before anything else was probably traffic, right? That's what we got to talk about for sure. Is like when I remember just the first few times when you're in Haiti and you're going through things and moving around, going through the city. You don't really think about too much. You're like, whoa, people, where's the traffic lights? Where's the but then when you start transitioning back, you're like, man, what, I'm gonna have to be driving. And so that's when these conversations start happening with people who are driving you to these places. How do you move? How do you navigate? And so that's certainly one of the first things I want to talk about. That's the first thing that people, I mean, what was your thoughts when you first
man, Chris, let me tell you, when I first came, and of course I always say this, when you're here visiting for a couple of weeks, it's as if you don't even realize what's going on. Because I mean, I was coming to Haiti so often, But when I came here to live, I finally sat and I was like, whoa, people actually drive like this? There's no street lights. It's just kind of go as you are. And they're driving, people are walking in the streets. You got to deal with the people, you got to deal with the cows, you got to deal with the goats, you got to deal with the trash, you got to deal with the water, you got to deal with the mashan, you got to deal with the bullets. I mean, the street is kind of like everything goes.
Like that's a big thing. Like you mentioned, that jaywalking is something that's one reason why I can't. Like in America, I'll be honest. Listen, I don't. You don't do as I say, kids. Do as I do, or don't do as I do. Do as I say. So when I'm in America, I have my phone to and I'm always glancing at my phone. Honestly, sometimes if it's a long enough drive, I'll have Netflix on. I'll put it somewhere on my dad. Real man. And I'll be driving and watching Netflix or something.
Chris, please.
I know I shouldn't be doing it, but I cannot do that in Haiti. Like you cannot lose your attention span
not for a
second without potentially rear-ending a car, running into someone who is crossing the street. I mean, you name it. Like literally, there is massive risk if you take your eyes off the road for a second.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, everything is in the street. And I after being here for some time, I've now I call it organized chaos. Because even though it's chaotic, I realized that actually I've seen less accidents in Haiti than I have in the States. Because there's a method to the madness, and people understand, there's kind of unwritten rules. And even though it is crazy. And now for me, it's kind of like, and this is not to say that it's okay, but it's kind of like normal. I've gotten used to it and I know how to manage it, which is not good by any means, but I'm just saying that, it's,
but you know what, let's qualify that, right? Because first off, the term I've been told of Haiti, of the driving unwritten rules they're called courtesy. And for us, we're saying courtesy. What do you, for me, like, the simplest way in America, for example, is when, you're entering a parking lot and a car is coming out, you even though you have the right of way, you could stop, slow down and let the car go. Right. And so that would be courtesy. Right. But courtesy for Haitians is more like, say two cars meet each other at an intersection. There is no other way to go about it other than for one person to allow the other person to go. There's a conversation that happens at any intersection or any particular waypoint so there is always a conversation, always.
Yep.
Right. And I think it's interesting because it's like, so this, you drive, so it's literally you go as far as your car can have your car go without necessarily being the reason for the accident.
Right. Exactly.
And then the other car has to stop, or otherwise it will be the cause of the accident, and then you go. Right. But here's the thing, like someone will hear that, so you just talked about courtesy, but the thing is, if you don't do that, you're actually being discourteous. It's kind of because what you're doing is you're not signaling that you have urgency and you have to go somewhere. And that I don't know. It's just interesting.
And the thing is, I mean, if you don't be the aggressor in that, you can end up staying where you are for 5, 10, 15 minutes. I mean,
the car, if you have any cars behind you, because the cars behind you would be honking and saying, "Yo, make a move. What are you doing?"
Exactly. And the cars in front of you, if they see that you've not, shown any type of, willingness to go, they'll keep driving and they won't let you go.
Right.
And there's been so many times, Chris, where I, as much as I can, I try to be the one who lets people go as much as I can. But then it gets to a certain point where it's kind of like, all right, how much do I need to conform and how much can I be the exception? This is like the kind of balance that I've been trying to find. How much how much do I need to conform to the craziness, and how much do I need to be the exception to the craziness?
So let me give some folks some rules when it comes to Haiti. So for sure in Pétionville, there's certain streets that are one way.
Yeah,
And honestly, you don't know that street until you just have to pay attention. You'll see how the other cars are moving.
yeah, yeah,
Some places do have signs. There's some signs on the floor and stuff.
yeah,
Honestly, if I'm advising somebody to when you're learning just a certain streets you can go or one way or another, particularly in Pétionville, I'd suggest somebody. It's like they go with somebody their first time,
yeah, for
and
sure.
they pay attention, right?
Yeah,
Now, okay, which streets are one way, which streets are up and down. Another thing about Pétionville, and I think other cities have that is the car going straight has the right of way. And that's true for anywhere in Haiti. The car going straight has the right of way. If you're having to turn left or right, you do not have right of way. You have to allow the cars going straight to go first. Now
right,
they can slow down and let you go, but that's a courtesy for them. They
right.
don't have to.
But now, to your point, Chris,
Mhm.
there's two directions of straight. You can be
Okay,
going straight east and west. You can be going straight north and south. So then, who has the right of way?
I see. Great question. So in Pétionville, in particular, it's the car going north and south, right? The car going north and south has the permanent right of way in a straightaway,
Mm, mm,
right? And the car going east and west, they don't, even if they're going
mm.
straight, right?
Got it.
So that's a rule, right? So say if you got into an accident, the when a police officer comes and when OAVCT comes, and by the way, just to let folks know, OAVCT is the national insurance that everyone has to pay for, and when you get into a car accident, they will come on scene, register the incident. If you have private insurance, great. Then your private insurance still will be called. A lot of times they'll
Yeah.
depend on the report of OAVCT to pay out in the police report too. But OAVCT then would start the process to then be the middle person to help get money from the person who's at fault. And then you would obviously fix your
Yeah.
car with that,
Now,
which is
have you seen that process play out?
I've seen it through an associate of mine's,
Mm,
and it's a long process. It works. That's one of the few things most Haitians speak well of is that. Obviously, by the way, the insurance you pay is like maybe 1,000 good for the year. Right, you
mhm.
pay that each year when you go renew your paperwork.
Yeah.
Right, and it's one of the things that actually works. It just takes I don't want to say it takes a long time, but it can take 2-3 weeks. Right,
Hmm. Hmm.
but it works where you'll see a judge, a ruling will be made, but of course the person has to show up, which is always a little dicey sometimes getting
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
person to
Yeah.
show up. But for the most part,
Yeah.
they show up, and then a ruling's made, a judgment's issued, and then it's settled. Right now, are there other additional mechanisms for them to go after? But here's the thing I've noticed is that in Haiti, right away, 9 times out of 10, there is a sort of collaboration amongst those who get into an accident. I've gotten to
Sure.
only one accident, and that wasn't me. Someone backed into my car, and knocked off my or broke my back light,
Mm,
and so right then and there, I got his information, got his contact. I found that the light I could buy from America for like a fraction of whatever it cost me in Haiti. I showed it to him. I said, "Hey, here's how much it's going to cost me, right?
mm,
And that's how much I want." And so literally the next day or the day after, I went and got that money. I showed him how
mm,
much,
mm.
like $40 or something. I got it from him. And then for some reason he wanted me to give him the broken light as sort of
Yeah.
proof or
Yeah. Yeah.
something if it ever comes back up. I was like, whatever. And so when I flew back in with the new light, changed the light out, then I contacted him and gave him the light. So a lot of Haitians will try to do it that way because the OAVCT route can be a little time consuming, especially again, if it's your car, you want it fixed as quickly as possible. So a lot of
Yeah.
times it'll be just gentlemen agreements. But still, you always still want OAVCT to show up to register the accident, because in case the person starts giving you some some issues, you can then take it to the more legal means, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have I personally went through the route of SAT and dealt with some of the particularities? Like, again, what happens if somebody doesn't show up? I haven't had that happen. And the folks that had accidents who I'm familiar with also haven't had that happen to them. You know, the people show up to the OFSAA proceedings, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Have you had an accident while you've been?
I've been in accidents, and every time it's kind of like, you know, barter system. Hey, you know, this person let's figure it out. You know, it's a little scratch or nothing's hurt, or you know, and then we meet up somewhere, and you know, there's an exchange, and then it's done.
Okay.
You know, it's always been that type of thing.
Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. Again, the one time that's what happened. I know a buddy of mine got into a pretty nasty accident with the top up in PV. His front car was damn near wrecked, and so he had to go a different route, and it ended up working out in the sense that he did fix the car, but then OFSAA came back and gave him a portion of that car of the bill, right? So, you know, so that worked out in that way. So that's so, but I guess, I don't know, before I change topics, but yeah, traffic is just something. I guess the best thing I can advise somebody with traffic is just drive with somebody until they're familiar, right? Yes. And ultimately, it's not, honestly, I prefer driving in Haiti than America because, first off, the big thing I want to say is there's no road rage. Like, yeah, people will roll down the window and cuss, right? But in America, road rage gets to the point where they can kill you. Like, I don't know about you, man, but like, though you've cussed at somebody perhaps for doing something really annoying, right? It's never gotten to a point. I've never seen a road rage.
The only time I've seen it get to a point of altercation is during an accident. States, I've seen people get out and fight, and you know, it very quickly, for not even an accident, just for, you know, yelling. But the other thing I was going to say, I would advise for people who are coming to Haiti, wherever your job is, or wherever you're going to work, if you're not working from home, try to live as close as possible. The traffic in the mornings and in the afternoons, especially during the school year, can be, I mean, it can take a toll on you. When I first came to Haiti, I was living in Fontamara, and I was working in Delma 75. Now, for people who know Haiti, that means I have to go through Matissa, I have to go through La Ville, I have to go all the way up to Delma to get to 75. Now, normally it's not even that it's a long drive. It's not even it's not a long drive. It's just the traffic.
Once you say Kafu, my man.
I mean, and imagine when it rains. I mean, if it rains the night before, you can forget about it.
Ooh, you're driving through a river and it slows down.
Yeah. Yes. And I mean, since then, after 2 years, I moved to Delma 83, and now I'm, right around the corner from my office.
Why were you all the way? Was your off? Why were you in front of Omar? Were you? Was your what? Yeah,
my
was your
family. No, my family.
Okay.
Yeah. And so the transition, that was easiest for me was going to live with my family. And so at the first, like you said, I did have a driver for the first 2 years. Actually, yeah, for the first year and a half. And then, I figured out my way around, and I figured out driving. I had to learn stick shift as well. And then, I started driving on my own. You drive stick shift, Chris?
You know what? So I'm eyeing a new car purchase when I get back to Haiti. And that car is going to be stick.
Okay.
So I don't know. I learned how to drive on a stick shift, but then I've been automatic for a long time.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's nothing too difficult. I've gone back to stick briefly from time to time, depending on the car. Kind of miss it,
It's nice. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about having a driver, right? So how did you get your first driver?
Yeah, so the driver was a friend of my uncle's. My uncle's a pastor in Fatima, and one of the guys at his church is a driver, the mechanic, and so he's the one that taught me how to drive stick shift. And the deal that I had with him was, he would he lived in our neighborhood as well. So he would pick me up, take me to work in Delmar, and then he would go to his shop where he was a mechanic, and then he would come pick me up after work and take me back to Fatima.
Okay.
And I mean, and obviously, I paid him monthly. And there's a part of that I want to talk about, but I paid him monthly, and I mean, it worked out. It was very easy. I didn't have to drive through the craziness. It was easy for me to learn because he was driving, and I was creating and helping him get some extra money. I mean, it's a very easy job. He's just picking me up and dropping me off, and making $100. I was paying him at the time. So I mean, yeah.
So so I have a staffing company, so I use my staffing network to find a driver. So the first year I was in Haiti, actually, I didn't have a driver. It was just me, and I'm really happy I did that. When I first moved to Haiti, I wasn't. I was working for myself, right? I would just move. I literally had quit my job. I started my staffing company, and it was just me. And so when I first got to Haiti, initially I got a little bit of help moving around because the office of my staffing company was actually at a cousin's office. So when she went to her office, I had a little desk, and so. But then very quickly I realized that was untenable. I need my own car. So my uncle actually was leaving Haiti. And so I was like, let me get your car. So while he had it for about a month, he didn't move just yet. So we're basically carpooling. So he dropped me off, and because we were on Boudon, and then so he would then go down to his office down in La Ville, and so he would drop me off on Boudon, go, and then on his way back up, he picked me up, right? And so, depending on what I had going on, I sometimes would just drop him off and take the car. If I had appointments and stuff, I had to use the car for around town. And so, but what was great with that, and then after a month, he left, and I just had the car the whole time. Now the car is a piece of crap, which today, in fact, today my driver I have right now, who's managing things for me, called me up and said there's like another repair. I mean, literally every single month I've had this car, I've paid at least, the littlest I've paid maybe $100, upwards to $300 each month in terms of different repairs.
Wow.
This car has been a pain. And so that's one reason, literally before the COVID happened, I was going to fly back in. I saw a dealer before I left, saw the car I liked, got a quote. And then literally when I was going to fly back, the next day I was going to get a new car. Right. And I don't mind telling folks about, my experience so far with that, but we'll get to that. And so really, really tired with this car. But in any case, so what was great with this car is that because my staffing company had me going to a lot of different companies in Haiti, all across Haiti, because that's, I was a business to business staffing company.
Yeah.
And so I did do some domestic staffing too, but mainly my cash cow was companies. And so it was cool because literally I'd be in Quadabuquet one day, I'd be in like Airport Road another day, I'd be somewhere in Delmar the next day. And so literally I was just figuring this out by myself. Google Maps helped a little bit. By the way, Google Maps does work. Not totally well, but pretty good. And then from there, if you can always ask somebody on the road, how to move there and there. Folks are pretty open. I've never felt intimidated or fearful for my safety as I've been driving around and trying to find. But I tell you what, that experience helped me so much because literally when I did get a driver a year later, I was telling my driver places, back roads and stuff. My driver was looking at me like, how do you a foreign, blanc, right? Showing me a nation, right? An ice and native, the back roads and stuff. I'm like,
that's pretty impressive.
I mean, my memory has always been, I've always had that sort of, you take me a place one time, I will remember how to get back. That's always been
very nice.
Just how I can operate. And so, so that was for that. I would recommend folks, if you can postpone a driver, do that just because it's so important to be able to familiarize yourself if you can. Now, if you can't, still get a driver, but then still always make it a goal to familiarize with where you are and where you're going and ask questions. directions and stuff like that. And how do you get here? How do you get there? And one thing that helps too is like, I was initially trying to acclimate myself when I was with a family member going someplace. So what I do is I'd have Google Maps with the GPS on, and I would look and just see, we just have Google Maps, just the app open. Like you don't put any address or anything. You just put GPS on, and you see the little pin of yourself. And as you're moving, you see the pin moving, right? And so just like that, I was able to triangulate. Oh, okay, this is Wood-Poublain. Oh, okay, this is Delmar 33. Oh, okay, this is Delmar 75. Oh, okay. And this is where I was able to see and look around, look out the window, and really acclimate myself to the major roads that exist in Haiti. And that's how I was able to get up to speed so quick. But so when it came time to get a driver, that's when I was changing my business model, and also I became a digital nomad. So I had some money, right? And also because digital nomad, I had to be in one location for most of the day, right? Because I was handling stuff for a company in America. And so that's when I realized I needed more of a courier than a driver, right? Someone who, while I'm in my office taking care of stuff, and also I knew I was going to be running my businesses. I was going to create some new businesses, and I did. I needed someone to really handle my affairs, take my car and go and run these errands and go pick up paperwork, go sign off, or go pick up somebody. So I really needed that, not so much the driver, right?
Yeah.
So from time to time, it was handy because then I could take my little 4G Wi-Fi box with my laptop and still be working, quote unquote. And then my driver would be actually taking me to point A, point B, and to maximize my time. That's why one of the coolest things about having a driver is that you can multitask like that. You can be doing work or having a meeting and not necessarily, because as I just mentioned, when you're driving, you cannot take your eyes off the road for a second.
No, you cannot. Right?
So, but how I found the driver again, I just so happen to have a staffing company. But most people, what they do is they usually, a driver is probably one of the most common and honestly desired jobs for astute young men in Haiti, even older as well, because it can pay pretty well. Usually the people who get drivers or a lot of times, Haitian activities they do it too, but they know there's an understanding that when you become a driver for a diaspora, the pay might be, it's most likely gonna be like double what you get from being a Haitian natives driver. And so vis-a-vis other opportunities that exist, it's pretty, there's a pretty high demand. Now the question becomes, how do you get a trustworthy one, right? Now you had a family of somebody who knew your dad, right? So usually that's the way it goes. Like someone from your family recommends this person, right? Now vis-a-vis having family, you would ask around, and someone you ultimately really trust would recommend and say, hey, I know a guy, listen, he's been a driver for such and such, or for my family for so long. I vouch for him. My such and such vouch for him, man. Here's his contact. Give him a call. Right. And why that's helpful too is that, and this goes for just about anything you ever do in Haiti when it comes to recommendations, is that if something does go wrong, you can't go back to that person who recommended you and say, yo, such and such did such and such, help. What should I do? And that guy should. Oh, I know where he lives. Oh, I know his parents. Oh, I know his brother. We'll take it. We'll get it handled. We'll get it settled. Right? So that network of recommendations is so important for a lot of things, because it gives you recourse, right? Because again, in Haiti, you don't have a legality. You can't take a person to court necessarily, but you can put pressure through that person's parents to say what you did was wrong, and you need to pay the person back, or whatever may have happened. Right. So that's sort of my.
Now, one of the challenges I had, one of the issues that came up with the driver, was there was 1 month where he only worked 2 weeks because I traveled. Now, in my mind, if you work 2 weeks, then I'll pay you for the 2 weeks you worked. But there's this thing in Haiti where moi commencer c'est moi en entier, where they say, hey, if I started the month, then I get paid the whole month, whether I worked it or not, because as long as the month starts, then I'm due my pay. And And so when the time came to pay him, I gave him pay for 2 weeks. And he was like, "Where's the rest of it?" I was like, "The
Right.
rest of what?" He was like, "The rest of it, I work." He said, and I said, "You only worked for 2 weeks." He was like, "Well, I started the month." I was like, "You're not salary." And I was just
So from a staffing company perspective, some companies do that, and I think some people hear of that being done,
right.
and so they'll try to also get that. But it's not that's not unless it's agreed upon beforehand. So I want you to think that person was trying to juke you or anything, right? They probably legitimately was hoping you'd have that sort of policy, but
No,
it's
yeah,
more common for it to be the way you think about it is no, you were here 2 weeks, so we'll pay you the 2 weeks you were here at the end of the month, right? And then next month you get the full month.
exactly, exactly. And I don't think that person was trying to juke me, but it was just kind of this, you know, that you only worked 2 weeks. This is not kind of a, I mean, and with him it wasn't kind of, it wasn't through a staffing company, there wasn't a contract, there wasn't any of this kind of thing. It was just kind of like a very informal, "Hey, I need you to pick me up and drop me off, and then at the end of every month I'll give you this amount of money."
Mhm.
And so, I mean, if you're not working at all, I mean, if you work one day or 1 week, then obviously your pay would reflect that. But yeah, that was and that would be something that I would advise that when people come to Haiti, whether it be drivers or even people who work in your house, that you are clear on the stipulations of what's said, even if you don't have a contract, but that it's clear and that things are stated up front so that there's no confusion when things arise like that.
So that's with drivers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So drivers, certainly got to be careful with the agreements that you make
Yeah.
because right up front. And of course, having the driver too, again, it's very, very convenient and very helpful. But that's drivers. Now, home help in general, right? Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Because I have someone, again, when I first got there into Haiti, actually, my home help was my aunt. My aunt
Very
would
nice.
help. I'd chip in, I'd give, 100, 200, actually
Sure.
200 a month, somewhere around there. And
Very
she
nice.
would go out and buy food and then cook it. And then, but she was cooking it for everyone at the house because at the time, I always had my own place, but I lived next door to my cousins, and so
Mhm.
so she made food for that family, which is I have an older cousin. She's in her 40s and then married with 2 kids and everything. And so when they made food, then I would get a plate, for breakfast and lunch. I
Yeah,
get a
yeah.
plate. So that worked out for almost a year
Nice.
and some change that
Nice.
that I was there. But then when I came back again as a digital nomad,
Mhm.
Had some disposable income. And so I was like, let me get my own cook. Because a lot of times, sometimes I want my own. I want something else that's not on the
Right.
menu. You
Right.
understand? And so I was always sort of at the whims of whatever the larger house wanted to
Exactly.
make, which I was pretty flexible, But still, having a little more independence is always good. And so when that time came, again, I had a staffing company, had a very
Mhm.
large database of of
Mhm.
staff, so it worked out. But uh, in fact, it was funny. So even actually, I didn't. This person was fun. Actually, it wasn't from my staffing company. This person actually. So I had a laundry woman
Hmm.
who used to be the laundry woman of my cousins.
Mhm.
But I actually tried to hire her because she was she was a nice person. But
Mhm.
then she was going back to school and couldn't. And so she recommended another woman who actually I was familiar with because at one time the laundry woman couldn't come, so she had this same woman come, and so she's like, oh, so that same woman who did the laundry at one time, she's available. So when
Mhm.
she started, she was would just help me, clean my apartment. I have a very small apartment. I mean, honestly, she'd be in and out within like an hour and a half, and it'd go out her day. But then as time went on, I was like, by the way, can you cook? By the way, because even when I first hired her, it was just for the cleaning. But then that's when I was like, let me try to get some more independence and more control over
Yeah.
over what I eat. And then she's like, she does cook, and man, she can cook. I got really lucky. She is a cooker, man.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. Um, and so no, so it's been pretty good, and haven't had complaints. How about you? How did it work for your home help?
Yeah, I mean, kind of same. When I first came to Haiti, it was at my aunt and uncle's house. They had people in the house who were helping, cooking and cleaning and laundry and all that. So, I mean, it's invaluable. That help, having your clothes clean, having your food ready all the time. It just takes things off of your plate. You don't have to worry about it. And of course, you pay monthly for that. Something way less than what you would pay if you were getting that service in the States. And I must say it's probably much better service than you're getting in the States as well, quality. Now at my house now with my wife, we have, when we first got married, we did not have someone cooking. We were cooking our own food, but we did have someone cleaning and washing and doing laundry. Just because in Haiti, the dust is crazy. And so even if you clean,
man,
if you clean today, by tomorrow or by the next day, it's as if, you didn't clean at all. That this is so dusty.
Yep.
And so we had someone who was coming 2, maybe sometimes 3 times a week to clean and also wash clothes once a week. But now, ever since my wife got pregnant, she wasn't able to take the smells of the kitchen anymore, and all that stuff that comes along with pregnancy. So we got that same way to start cooking. So it's actually helped us save quite a bit. I mean, to be honest with you, Chris, we were spending so much money at the market a week. I mean, just an exorbitant amount of money. And now, if I can tell you a little secret.
Okay, tell us a secret, man.
I spend, for my wife and I, 1,000 goods per week on food.
What? How are you doing different?
I give our lady 1,000 goods. She goes, she gets rice, she gets noodles, she gets meat, she gets juice, and buys it all, cooks it all, and then that's the food for the week.
Man, listen, I'm switching up what I'm doing when I get back, because here's my problem, bro. I go to everything I buy is from the grocery store.
Nah, I stopped that. I was spending $100 a week at the grocery store.
That's what I'm spending. That's what I'm spending, Mark.
I'm spending $10 a week now. $10, 1,000 goods.
Mark, holy crap! You changed my life. I don't know about my viewers,
bro. I stopped. I mean, of course, there are some sacrifices. No more Oreos.
Little stuff. Yeah, I don't even eat those kind of stuff, to be honest.
I mean, some things you can still go and get at the market if you really want, but I mean, buying meat at the marché is way more, user friendly, cost friendly. I mean, getting, your other things like your rice, like your butter.
Here's the question then, like, how do you know you're getting the right price, right? Because there's no receipts necessarily, right? Did you go the first time to kind of get like, how does that work? To make sure you're getting the fair deal.
Now, what I did was 2 things. I ask, like, so I would ask my aunt, hey, damsa fix what acheté bagay pour moi. I gave her this amount of money. Is it about right? And of course, in the different areas, Delma costs more than Fotamara, but I always question her, how much was this week? I gave you 1,000 goods. You came back, with this amount of stuff. And then I kind of keep an eye on it.
So you're just on top of it.
On top of it. But then I also make sure that she leaves the change. Even if there's not change, I always ask her, I always tell her, keep the money out from me. Because a lot of times what I notice is that when you give people money, they'll buy stuff for you, they won't necessarily give you the change back unless or until you ask for it. I don't know if you've noticed that. Like, I may give somebody money, like, here, some
my driver sometimes you'll forget to
right like,
give me your boss. Yeah.
They do that all the time. So I always tell them, keep them on there, like, leave the change. So that way, and I mean, 1,000 goods, I mean, give or take, whatever she's, I'm sure she could probably get it for cheaper or whatever, I don't know, but 1,000 goods is
You know what?
a heck of
Man,
a deal, bro.
I'm mad at myself, Mark. I'm mad at myself.
Yo, come on,
What?
Chris, get on. Yeah, at the Masha, 1,000. And for you,
Mhm.
you're living alone,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, yeah. Did you don't know me? Yeah, just because my wife
Man,
hasn't moved to Haiti yet. Yeah, but
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so here's my logic in my defense, Mark, is that transferring money is a hassle and a pain and to get out the bank.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
so for me, it's the convenience of just being able to charge it and move on,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
Has always outweighed the headache of
Yeah,
transferring money and getting it out.
got it.
But I tell you what, screw the convenience. Like, if you're telling me it's even
Yo,
if it's 2,000, even if it's 3,000 good, even if it's
yes,
4,000 good a week,
yeah,
that would be freaking massive savings for me.
massive, bro.
You
It's a life changer. The food is better.
know?
It's healthier. I mean, bro. I mean, it's just it's just a life
Man, you
changer.
know what?
So
Glad I had this conversation. We can
yeah,
end that
man.
right here. I'm
Yeah.
gay. I'm gay too much. So let's keep it going, though. Let's keep it going. So,
So,
some of
so
the
the
issues
same,
that, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so I was saying the same lady does laundry for us.
Yeah, boom. Yeah, right. So savings there. So,
Yeah.
one of the biggest things I do want to talk about is trust, right? Like,
Hmm.
some of the things some people are, oh
Yeah.
man, in your home and they're seeing all your stuff and probably near your valuables. Like,
Hmm.
how do you how do you deal with that trust aspect?
Hmm. Um, the first thing is definitely know who you're getting the people from. Um, get the person from someone you trust. And so this lady that works with us, um, she was recommended to us by someone that we trust.
Mhm, mhm,
Someone that she's worked with them before, she's
mhm,
worked with other people before, and so we knew that we could trust her. The second thing is you really have to be you have to keep an eye out, because even if somebody else trusted them, every situation is different and life changes.
mhm,
And so you really have to keep an eye open, be smart. Just because you trust them doesn't mean you leave everything out in the open.
mhm,
You still have to have a certain level of wisdom, and care for your stuff, especially
mhm,
when you're leaving it. Like I'm in the States now because of my wife. She
mhm.
still goes to my house and cleans twice
Yeah,
a week.
mine's too.
um,
Mhm,
so there is that level of trust. But other thing is, don't be afraid to have tough conversations. If there's something that you think is up or that you
mhm.
don't like, you have to address it.
Yeah, get right away.
You have
Absolutely.
to address it right away and be like, hey, I
Yes,
didn't like
yes. Yeah.
I
Mhm,
didn't like this. Next time, can you do this? And
mhm,
and be in the States. What I've learned is that I can be a bit aggressive, and I think that's from growing up in the North.
mhm,
And a lot of times we come off aggressive, not that we're mad, but just our language is very aggressive.
mhm,
And Haitians are very sensitive.
mhm.
And so I've learned to kind of be very careful and be measured in the way that I address things that I don't like. So it doesn't come off like I'm accusing, or it doesn't come off like I'm angry, but rather comes off, that this is
Just asking
something
a question. You're just asking
right,
a question.
exactly,
Hey,
exactly,
help me understand this.
exactly, exactly.
Eh,
So the culture is just much less of a direct culture.
yeah.
And I've had to kind of adapt.
So my perspective too is that when it comes to trust, listen, it came from someone who came from my family, and who worked with someone who then recommended me that person. She's almost she's too good in the sense that she doesn't cook grill for me. She's a Seventh-day Adventist, and she's like her religion doesn't allow her to cook
Ah,
vegetables.
ah,
Like, she's really hyper religious. Like
mm,
she's giving me pamphlets and and,
ah,
and, and stuff like that. So she's straight and narrow. So that's another way to go at it, is to
yeah,
find someone who's a very wholesome Christian person,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
that was always a good bet.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so another thing too, when you talk about talking to folks, I can growing up in the States, you don't grow up with someone in your home.
Right.
I didn't grow, there's in America, to have a maid or someone to help you clean, that's money.
That's money.
That's like
Yeah.
the new show, Black AF.
Yeah.
that's
Right.
that's money. Like, that's not even connected to like the regular experience.
Yeah.
But Haiti is super common, and so I had to kind of get used to that, to kind of be assertive, right? I was almost too nice, right? So you had to tone it down. I had to tone it up. To ask, to say, hey, do this, do that,
Right.
and so that was a shift for me.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
toning it up but I tell you, it's that alone, having that is a game changer for quality of life to have, because it allows you to be so much more productive.
Big time.
Focus more on the things that will get you more money, get you more work, get you, and that really to me is just huge reason why I enjoy Haiti, because I have help. I have, and a big part too is price points. The price points are marginal relative to what you're making, especially if you're a digital nomad, versus what you're giving, because what you're giving is you're giving income 3-4 times the daily rate that they get anywhere else, and it's a sizable amount of money. And by the way, what I do, by the way, I pay my home help in dollars, because I saw that the amount of money they were getting from me and the depreciation of the good was happening so quickly. Like it was easier just to say I pegged it to $2, because I didn't have to constantly be revisiting and having those conversations every month or every other month about where her salary point is. So I just said, what it was when I hired her. I said, okay, what was the equivalent? It was this amount of dollars, and that's what I set it to. In a sense, when she goes to convert it, it's kind of like she's getting a raise in a way, because the good is depreciating so much that when you go exchange it, you get more good back, right? And
meanwhile, you aren't taking a hit.
Exactly, right. And there's no weirdness. There's no, she's getting paid in dollars, and she prefers that, and it's folks are very appreciative, to be paid in dollars, because they understand. The situation with the good, right? I mean, just today, the last few days ago, hit 100 on both sides of the tire, 100 good.
Wow.
So that's one thing. So and next up, I guess my next talking point was going to be the grocery store versus food. You already tackled that. You made that clearly. I mean, to be fair, there's certain things, again, as you just mentioned, you can't get
right.
So certain little snacks and stuff like that. So there's grocery stores do have a place and a need, but I can tell you, even Haitians, if you ever go to a grocery store, you'll see Haitians themselves. They just buy a few things. Like you very rarely see Haitians, except my dumb self, they're shopping in a grocery store, because that's just not how it works. Folks go to Mashans to do their shopping.
Where would you say is your favorite grocery store?
In terms of a variety, Caribbean Market in Pittsville.
No doubt about it.
It's like Publix. It has everything.
No doubt about it.
Every minute brand that you could possibly want. It's that Caribbean Market, right? And after that, there's other places that are okay. Giant's all right. There's supposed to be a Giant near the airport that's supposed to be like as good as Caribbean Market, or just a notch below it. I've never been to that one. But am I thinking is the one owned by Boulos? Is it Giant?
No, Deli Mart.
That's what I meant to say. Deli Mart.
I was gonna say, which Giant was that?
Sorry about that. Deli Mart is what I meant to say, near the airport. It's supposed to be on that level as well, and supposed to be another Deli Mart opened up across from the Marriott from last night. So I was pretty far along in construction.
Okay,
but no, that's really this Caribbean Market, and then there's some other ones that aren't too bad, but just definitely number one Caribbean Market by a large margin.
That's definitely my go-to as well. Definitely my go-to. I mean, since my wife has been out for these past 6 weeks, before I was here, I was going more often just because she wasn't here, and things have kind of slowed down. But for the past year and a half, we cut down our market by 75-80%. So that's it goes without saying. I'm mad at myself. I'm definitely not doing that anymore, for sure. But we're glad I had that piece of conversation. So other little things we want to hit real quick. Water, right? So the big difference in Haiti is that for drinking water, first off,
You buy basically large water gallons, Culligan.
Yep.
How do you call what do you call these things? Those big old, like, in America, when you go to, say, if you're in a waiting room, and then the little cup of water, and there's a big old jug of blue clear
water
sewage.
dispensers thing.
Yeah. So in Haiti, you buy that. You buy those big water. Listen, we just call them Culligans, right?
Yeah.
And that's the most high-end brand.
Yeah.
That you can always go to a store and just swap out. That's why it works. You buy it once and then you just swap it out for like, it's very nominal. It's less than $1.
Yeah.
Less than 50 cents. It's just really cheap. It's surprisingly cheap to get good, clean drinking water, which is phenomenal. And then you keep a few in your home, and then as you drink it, as you empty it out, you go and replace it, right? But then there's also places all across neighborhoods where these osmosis machines that they osmosis the water.
Yeah.
And that removes all bacteria, all sediment, all stuff. And then they'll refill it right then and there for you. And that's like half of what you'd pay for Culligan, right? The taste can vary.
It does vary.
So that's the Russian roulette that you play, whether how the taste is gonna be. But that's what most Haitians do, because that's the most affordable price point to getting drinking water.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't know what else. What do you want to add on that?
No, that's exactly right. I've never used that. I won't say never. I used that osmosis thing once, and I never used it again because I didn't like the taste.
Okay.
So now I just bite the bullet, and I mean it's not a big bullet. Just get the coolie gun, and I know I'm set.
To be fair, when I was just doing my entrepreneurial thing, just myself, and getting penny pinching, watching every penny. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I use osmosis machines. I would experiment, go to different places. Okay, how's this taste? Okay, not too bad. And then once I found one I liked, I would always go to that one, and that's how I did it. Yeah. Then, once again, digital nomad, you got some disposable income. Then I just pinkied up and just got Culligans. Taste is always consistent. Right. Clean and clear, like a smooth taste.
Now, we should put Culligan as one of the most consistent Haitian businesses in Haiti.
Mm-hmm. Even though they're not technically Haitian, but nonetheless, they're Haitian operated.
Yeah, Haitian operated.
Yeah. And then after, when it comes to, so that's drinking water. Now it comes to bathing water and all your other water. Now there's more and more places that's starting to use city water. Like, just like in America, you have water that comes out your tap from the city. There's more and more places that actually is having that, right?
Really?
More and more places, man. And Danepa has been aggressively adding more and more real estate of homes connected, and that you can connect to your system to theirs, right? But for most Haitians in most places, you use water camions, which is these water tanks. Water tanks. And they're pretty common, like Latin America, really, like Mexico. Like Mexico City's big on that, for example. And so they'll come and basically there's a hole on your property that can probably hold basically a swimming pool's worth of water underground, and then they pour it into that hole. Yeah. And then you have a water pump, which when there's electricity or whatever, you turn it on, and it'll go up to they call it a shadow door, which sits on your roof of your home. Yep. And then it'll pour out. It'll pour down, and when you flush and everything like that, right? And some places, depending on if the electricity's happened, or for me, I have solar panels, so even when the electricity hasn't happened for a couple of days, I can always pass it on the solar charged battery. But for some Haitians, unfortunately, they're stuck, and so what they would do is they'll just get a bucket, and then just pull it up as they need it until they could.
What I would say is probably the majority of Haitians use the bucket.
Yeah.
I was using a bucket for 2 years when I went to Futamara, because there wasn't always electricity, and the water that we got wasn't even from a camion. It was water that they got from another source that's not too far from the house, and they would fill up dooms with the water. They would leave it in the sun. And then we would go to the dune that's right outside, in the yard of the house. Take a little bucket, fill the bucket up, take it to the tub, and and bathe.
Man, you had an authentic experience, man.
Bro,
Yeah. I never experienced it like that.
bro,
Yeah, I
yeah, for
always
2
had it.
years, man, and that's the majority of Haitians.
Yeah.
I didn't take. I mean, there were times where I would just go spend a weekend at a hotel just to take a shower.
Mhm, mhm,
Like,
mhm.
I mean, but don't get me wrong, bathing like that is it keeps you very clean. I mean,
Yeah.
bathing with, in that bucket with that thing is,
It's
is
funny.
fine.
I did miss hot water for a little bit, but don't get me wrong. On hot days, like during the summer, because the shower door is on your roof and it's
Yes.
a black plastic thing, so I think water used to get hot. Like during the summer, man, it used to,
I
it
do
was
miss hot
warm.
water. I did
But
miss hot water. Since my wife came, we put in a hot water pump and it's life changing, bro.
hmm, how much does that run you, man? I'm
Bro,
curious.
a pretty penny, upwards of $700
Okay.
to buy the materials and to get somebody to set it up.
So how does that work? So as it pulls the water up, it's automatically warming it, or how does that work?
Exactly. It
Uh,
pulls it up and it warms it as it's coming up. So it takes
Really?
about 30 seconds to get warm, but then it's hot, as in,
Hmm,
just like you would have hot water in the States. Um,
interesting. Yeah, I
yeah.
had to replace the pump myself in my apartment, and
Mhm.
it run me. It was just a regular pump, but it was $300, right? So, so the hot version one was 700. So that's interesting to know the price point. So for
Yeah.
a little bit more than double of the regular pump price, you can get one that's actually hot. Okay,
Right. Right.
okay.
Right.
We'll have to keep that in mind because here's how I make mine hot. My water hot. Is that I have a kettle, I have a tea kettle, and
Yeah.
I warm it up. I usually one tea kettle is enough for me. My wife just loves it hot, so it'll be two tea kettles going, and then we pour it in the because when I shower, even though the water comes down from the shower door, we still use a bucket,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so pour into a bucket, and then we just sort of Haitians know people who aren't Haitian may not know the whole bucket bath system, but you know Haitians know, because even in America, when we come to America, I grew up that way in
Haitians know.
America, right?
If any Haitians say they don't know, they fronting. They know what it is.
So even in America, we still showered like that, even though we had shower heads that could, but parents were like, no, you're wasting my water. No,
Right.
just put it in a
Right.
bucket. And so that's how so we do get warm showers. I want to make that clear. You just have to warm it up a different way.
Yeah.
But that's but that pump is very convenient
Yeah.
to have. So that's that. And then when it comes, certainly, eventually, usually takes up to 10 to 20 years, but eventually, also on your property, there's another hole, because Haiti's interesting statistic is the largest city in the world without a central sewage system.
Yeah.
Right. And so all homes have a hole on the property. And so when you flush, the sewage goes to that hole. Eventually, it will get full. And so there's companies that exist that will come and just like basically sub pumps, or in America, in Haiti, in America, there's septic pumps or
Yeah.
septic tanks. Sorry,
Yeah.
septic tanks. And so same thing in Haiti, just septic tanks, and then they'll take out as much as the truck can hold. And the cost of that, I remember I did it recently, and it was about 40,000, 30,000 good or something like that. Just FYI, how much 30 or 40,000 good, somewhere around there. And they take, they take a big amount of it away, and stinks a little bit.
Interesting fact. In all my years of Haiti, I've never seen one of those.
Yeah. There's a company we use. There's Jedco and then Sonico. Funny thing about those companies, they're husband and wife, and then they got divorced, and but they still operate. So those are the big two ones. There's some other ones out there, but those are the big two.
I've heard of them, but I've never
Yeah.
actually seen them come to my.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And it was funny, the property that happened, they had a bigger issue with the septic pump tank, sorry, and so the tank really had to be discarded, and we had to build a new septic tank hole, and that was really interesting because we had a pretty quality engineer, and they made like 3 different holes.
Wow.
And so the primary hole where there's the water is, right, there's water there already, right, and the water goes through, and then the second hole where there's it's filled with basically raw wood, like wood, like a woodish product in rocks, and that's supposed to
Mm-hmm.
sort of act as a filter. And then there's another hole that has uh, um, like more just dirt, like just like raw, like fine rocks and dirt. And then finally, it all funnels out to the front yard and to another final hole has bigger rocks, and that's supposed to help with the soil so the soil doesn't erode or anything. But why it's done that way is that it's very eco-friendly, where the different layers of it passing through the rock, it's supposed to clarify and make things a lot cleaner. So that's how the engineer my because it was my uncle's property hired to get it done. So that's just FYI, just a little quick fun fact. Other things I want to add because I know our time's running near here. So propane is how you cook, right?
Yes.
It's very for most Haitians, it's most common to use what's that called again? Charbon. Charbon, by the way, it's a dried out wood, right?
Charcoal,
basically, charcoal. But those who can use propane just because it burns more consistently, it's cleaner, it's more accessible, and it plugs in. I know the stove I have is a propane stove, right? And you use propane because you can't use an electricity one because electricity is just too inconsistent,
right?
And so propane itself, a big old thing of propane, isn't too expensive. It's like how much am I paying? Like $1,000 to refill it. And it'll last you 2 weeks, just about.
It lasts 2 weeks.
A week and a half, maybe.
I have the tall one.
Okay.
That thing lasts me about 6 months, bro.
Really? Nah. We cook a lot, I guess. Because I'm using the propane also to warm my water, right? For showers and stuff like that. And so no, it lasts me, 2 weeks. 2 weeks generally. Propane, 2 weeks.
Okay.
So so I always have a backup too, just in case. So when that one goes out, then we quickly just plug it back in and we get it going. Yeah. And then that's cooking. And then honestly, I think that's really the biggest changes, really. Yeah. Of course, and you didn't talk about gas. Like in Haiti, by the way, it's illegal for you to pump your own gas, just like Jersey.
Yeah.
Right. New Jersey. Like, is there another state in America that you can't pump your gas? It's New Jersey and where else? There's one more state. You're not allowed to pump your own gas.
I'm not sure. Definitely Jersey. I'm not sure which other.
I think it was Oregon. I think because they recently changed the law and people were mad. People were like really mad about that. I think it was Oregon, some place in the West there. But New Jersey still that way.
Yeah.
So Haiti is like that. You have to pump you have to have someone pump your gas. You can't pump your own gas. And that's kind of, to me, that's a cool convenience. You kind of roll up your window, you give them the money. I usually pay by credit card, so I have to go inside, charge it, and then I show them the receipt that I've paid.
Yeah.
And they'll pump your gas, right? And just a little quick side note too, gas versus diesel. Diesel is cheaper in Haiti than gas, right? Which is different from most countries. Diesel is more expensive.
Yeah.
And because given diesel also has incredible mileage as well, diesel is a preferred car to have if you can get it, because you can go. I mean, how often you have a diesel truck, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
How often can you go between Phillips, man? A while, right?
Oh, I mean, a while, especially because I live close to my office. I mean, sometimes I spend a month, and if I'm just going from home to the office, I don't.
Literally, so 1 month you pump, and that. Dang, that's why my truck I'm gonna get is gonna be a diesel truck, because I'm spending gas, and every week, man, I'm dropping for around $40.
Oh no!
I haven't go anywhere either. I'm just literally running errands around my place. Going to the grocery store and just little errands here and there.
No! For $40 in a diesel, that'll last you at least 2 weeks, at least, very least, and that's with a lot of driving.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I'm getting a diesel.
Oh, wow.
So I think, Mark, I think we had a good conversation, man.
Sure.
I learned a lot. I think are people listening? Certainly have learned.
Sure.
Right.
I think it's really helpful to go into detail on these. I mean, they're pretty big lifestyle changes. things that you're just not used to, things that you probably wouldn't even think about growing up in the US. I mean, you buy a house in the US, the last thing on your mind is what happens to, when you flush your toilet, or
Mhm.
what, water. I mean, those things are kind of givens, but those are things that you need to think about when coming to Haiti. So yeah, really, really good to talk about that in detail.
We have a lot more topics we're going to talk about as time goes on, just you and I. But of course, I do always appreciate having our guests, and because our guests do add perspectives and they bring their professional experience, so that's not going to go away. Don't you worry, folks. But folks, if you enjoyed this conversation, let us know. Drop a comment wherever you may be hearing this from. Spotify, if it's on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, we're on everything. Drop a comment. Let us know what you thought. And of course we're these, especially doing COVID, we're doing a lot of these episodes. We have another episode we're going to be shooting this coming Saturday, and as much as possible we're going to be just inundating you guys with content, conversation, because we're taking advantage while we can. Just when we're back in Haiti, Marc and I, we're moving and shaking, so it's going to be tricky to connect as frequently. So we're certainly taking advantage of it now. And so, but listen, I appreciate the time. If you listen to this entire podcast, certainly appreciate it. Remember, give us a thumbs up, give us a 5-star, give us a like wherever you may be listening to the podcast from, because we're on everything, we're on every possible platform. And I think that's how I have to say about you, Marc. You good?
Yeah, thank you. I'm really, really, grateful for everyone, listening in and showing the support. So yeah, continue to send feedback, and be really, really glad to hear from you.
Awesome. Listen, my Pimpo Haiti, the Haitian Diaspora Living in Haiti podcast, just wrapped up another episode, and we'll be back at it again when we're back at it again.